The aroma of spices and sizzling onions wafted through the streets of Surulere every morning, announcing the beginning of another busy day at Bola's kitchen. People from all walks of life, traders, office workers, artisans, and even students flocked to her small restaurant, eager to taste the magic that Bola had created. Bola's culinary journey began in her mother's kitchen, where she spent countless hours as a child watching her mother stir steaming pots of soup and pounded yam with effortless grace. Unlike her mother, who believed in meticulous cleaning and careful food preparation, Bola had always been focused on the flavors. It's the taste that matters, she would say with a laugh whenever her mother scolded her for skipping chores. Her philosophy hadn't changed much over the years. Now in her late 30s, Bola had become a local celebrity, known far and wide for her ability to transform the simplest ingredients into mouth-watering delicacies. Her jollof rice, rich with a medley of spices, was said to rival even the most extravagant catering services. Her nkwobi, a delicacy made from cow food, was so tender and flavorful that it left her customers licking their fingers. Despite her success, Bola's work ethic was unconventional. She had little regard for cleanliness, a fact she managed to keep hidden from her adoring customers. 5 years ago, Bola took a leap of faith and used her little savings to open her restaurant. At first, it was a modest operation, a few tables, a small menu, and a single assistant. But as word spread about her cooking, the restaurant quickly grew into a bustling hub. People came from neighboring areas, often standing in long queues just to get a taste of her food. The more her fame grew, the less she was worried about the behind-the-scenes detail. Her kitchen was often cluttered with dirty utensils and leftovers from previous meals. The pots and pans, blackened with soot, rarely saw the touch of a soap. Yet, none of this seems to affect the taste of her food. What they don't know won't hurt them, Bola would mutter under her breath, dismissing the occasional complaints from her assistants about the state of the kitchen. Customers couldn't get enough of her food. Bola, you are a genius, one man exclaimed as he devoured a plate of her egusi soup. Why should I bother cooking at home when you are here? A woman joked as she ordered a second help of fried rice and chicken. Over time, many people stopped cooking altogether. It was simply more convenient and far more enjoyable to eat at Bola's kitchen. Her meals were not only affordable, but also packed with flavors that seemed to suit the soul. Little did they know behind the scenes, Bola's cooking methods were far from pristine. As months turned into years, a peculiar trend began to emerge. Customers who frequented Bola's kitchen started complaining of stomach pains, diarrhea, and other mysterious ailments. Some chalked it up to the unpredictable Lagos weather, while others blamed their own poor eating habits. Bola heard this complaint but paid them no mind. It is not my food, she would say confidently. If it's were, people wouldn't keep coming back. Her belief was not entirely misplaced. Despite the occasional grumblings, the restaurant remained as popular as ever. Bola's charisma and cooking skill seemed to overshadow any doubt people might have had. But beneath the surface, trouble was brewing, and it was a matter of time before the truth came to light. Bola's kitchen came alive before the first rays of sunlight touching the bustling city of Lagos. Her day started at 4 a.m., long before any of her customers arrived. The clattering of pots and the hiss of frying oil were the sounds of her morning routine, accompanied by the intoxicating scent of spices that seemed to seep into the very walls of her tiny restaurant. But this early morning hustle revealed a different side of Bola, one that her customers never saw. Bola splashed water on her face, yawning as she wiped her eyes. The same basin of water now murky, was now placed on the counter. She dipped her hands to clean off some pepper stains from the night before and absent-mindedly flicked the droplets onto the floor. The water wasn't thrown out. Instead, she poured it into a large pot that would later boil yam for her special yam porridge. Her attention turned to a giant spoon resting on the counter, blackened at the edges from years of use. Bola grabbed the spoon and scratched her armpit vigorously, sighing with relief before stirring a bubbling pot of egusi with the same utensil. There is no time to waste, she muttered, adding more palm oil to the pot. To Bola, these habits were a matter of efficiency. Washing her hand and utensils thoroughly felt like a waste of time when there were hungry customers waiting to be fed. The fire will kill the jam, she always told herself, convinced that the heat from her cooking was enough to make everything clean. The kitchen itself was a far cry from the clean, welcoming dining area outside. The counters were cluttered with containers of half-used spices, open bags of rice, and bowls of chopped vegetables. Flies buzzed lazily around a pile of leftover fish head on the floor, which Bola had intended to throw out but never got to. The refrigerator, an ancient model that barely kept its contents cool, was packed with meat and sauces, some of which had there been for weeks. The overpowering smell of decaying food hit everyone who dared to open it. Despite all this, Bola's food came out tasting divine, a fact that baffled anyone who saw her workspace. Her assistant, Shade, had once suggested hiring a cleaner, but Bola had dismissed the idea. What do we need a cleaner for? People come here for my cooking, not for how shiny the floor is. By 7 a.m., customers began trickling into the restaurant, oblivious to the chaos in the kitchen. Bola greeted them warmly, her smile bright and infectious. She moved between tables, laughing and chatting as she served steaming plates of jollof rice, amala and ewedu, and her famous nkwobi. One regular customer, Mr. D, sang her praises to anyone who would listen. Ah, Bola's food is medicine to the soul. You will eat here and forget all your sorrows. But not everyone was as enthusiastic. A few customers had begun to notice a pattern: frequent stomach upsets after eating at Bola's kitchen. Yet they brushed it off, blaming their ailment on other factors. It's probably the suya I ate last night, one man said to his wife after spending the night doubled over in pain. Yes, Bola's food can't be the cause, she replied. Her cooking is too good to hurt anyone. And so, the reputation of Bola's kitchen remained intact for now. As the month passed, the report of sicknesses grew more frequent. Shade, the assistant, started to feel uneasy. She had noticed some of Bola's habits, but didn't dare confront her boss directly. One day, she tentatively suggested, Madam, maybe we should start cleaning more often. People are complaining of stomach pains. Bola waved her off. Nonsense. It's not our food. People are always looking for someone to blame. If there was a problem, why are they still coming here, eh? Shade had no answer. Bola's logic seemed sound. After all, the restaurant was still packed every day. But deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. As Bola continued to churn out her beloved dishes, she remained blissful, unaware of the storm brewing on the horizon. Her customers still sang her praises, but whispers of doubt had begun to spread. It was only a matter of time before someone uncovered the truth, and when they did, Bola's carefully built empire would come crashing down. It was a crisp Wednesday morning in Surulere, and the streets were just beginning to stir. The sun had barely begun to rise, casting soft golden hues over the quiet neighborhood. Fumi, a young journalist in her mid-twenties, walked briskly into Bola's kitchen. She had heard countless tales about Bola's legendary cooking. Friends and colleagues raved about the food, urging her to try it. You haven't lived until you have tried out Bola's jollof rice, one colleague had told her emphatically. As someone who valued good food, Fumi decided to see the force about it, but her packed schedule as a budding journalist left her with little free time, so she decided to visit the restaurant at dawn before the day's rush began. By 6 a.m., Fumi arrived at the restaurant. The street was eerie quiet, with only the faint of hum of distant generators breaking the silence. As she approached the front door, she noticed the dining area was empty, the chairs neatly arranged. "Ah, I'm too early," she muttered to herself. But as she lingered near the entrance, she heard a faint noises coming from the kitchen, a clatter of pots and the sound of someone hewing. Curiosity piqued. Fumi decided to wait. Minutes turned into moments of impatience. Unable to resist, she wandered around the building, hoping to find someone to take her order. That's when she noticed a small crack in the kitchen door. A soft yellow light spilled through, along with the unmistakable aroma of onions and peppers frying. Fumi hesitated for a moment, unsure if she would intrude, but her curiosity got the better of her. She peered through the crack. Her journalistic instinct kicked in. What she saw made her heart skip a beat. Bola stood over a massive pot of steaming soup, stirring with a large battered spoon. Her face glistened with sweat as she hummed a tune. But what caught Fumi's attention was Bola's peculiar behavior. She watched in horror as Bola scratched her hairy armpit with the same spoon she used to stir the soup. Fumi's hand flew to her mouth to stifle a gasp. She kept watching, unable to look away. Next, Bola reached for a bowl of water, sitting on the counter. Fumi recognized it instantly. It was the same bowl that was used to wash her face and hands moments ago. Without hesitation, Bola poured the murky water into the pot of soup, giving it a quick stir. Fumi's stomach churned. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Bola continued cooking as if nothing was amiss, completely unaware of her audience. Fumi backed away from the door, her heart pounding in her chest. She wanted to confront Bola, to demand an explanation, but fear held her back. Instead, she turned and walked quickly down the street, her mind racing. By the time she reached the main road, Fumi was certain of one thing: the world needed to know the truth about Bola's kitchen. As Fumi boarded a keke napep to head back home, she replayed the scene on her head. The journalist in her was eager to expose Bola, but she couldn't ignore the consequences. Bola is a pillar in this community, she thought. People rely on her food every day. What if they refuse to believe me? She thought to herself. What if they attack me instead? But then she remembered the story she had heard about customers falling sick after eating at the restaurant. Could this be the reason? Fumi decided she couldn't stay silent no matter the risk. Over the next few days, Fumi returned to the restaurant, this time armed with her phone camera. She made sure to stay hidden as she captured photos and videos of Bola's unsanitary practices, from reusing dirty water to handling food with unwashed hands. Bola's habits were worse than Fumi had imagined. To strengthen her case, Fumi began interviewing customers who had experienced stomach issues after eating at Bola's kitchen. Most of them were reluctant to blame the restaurant. Bola's food is too good to be the problem, one man said, shaking his head. Still, Fumi pressed on, determined to connect the dots. One evening, Fumi sat in her small apartment, scrolling through the evidence she had gathered. Her hands trembled as she typed out the post on her blog, detailing everything she had witnessed. She included the photos and videos, knowing they were damning. To all those who love Bola's food, this is not an attack on her talent, but a call for accountability. We deserve to enjoy good food without compromising our health. Let's demand better hygiene practices, not just from Bola, but from all restaurants in our community. Fumi hesitated before hitting the publish. She knew this would change everything, not just for Bola, but for the community as well. Taking a deep breath, she clicked the button. The sun had barely risen when Fumi's blog post went live. By midday, it was the talk of the town. Her expose, titled The Dirty Secrets Behind Bola's Kitchen, spread like wildfire. The detailed account of Bola's unsanitary cooking habits, accompanied by incriminating photos and videos, shocked the community. Fumi's post wasn't just another piece of gossip, it was a careful, crafted narrative, blending investigative journalism with undeniable evidence. The comment section exploded with reaction, ranging from disbelief to outrage. Ah, I can't believe this. Bola's food is my favorite. How can this be true? No wonder I have been having stomach pains. This is unacceptable. She needs to shut down immediately. What kind of madness is this? The story spread beyond the neighborhood, shared on WhatsApp group, social media platform, and even by local news outlets. Bola, once the darling of the community, was now at the center of a growing scandal. By late afternoon, the ripple effect of Fumi's post was visible. The usually packed Bola's kitchen was eerily empty. The few customers who did show up quickly turned away after seeing the viral photos on their phones. Regulars who had sworn by Bola's cooking were torn between loyalty and disgust. Many felt betrayed, while others struggled to reconcile the truth with the fond memories of her food. It's like finding out your favorite jollof rice was cooked in a gutter, one man said bitterly to his friend. In the market, traders gossiped loudly about the scandal. Mothers warned their children to avoid the restaurant, while some people openly mocked Bola's fall from grace. Inside the now empty restaurant, Bola sat slumped at one of the tables, staring blankly at her phone. She had read Fumi's post and seen the photos and videos. Each word felt like a dagger to her heart. Sade, her assistant, stood awkwardly nearby, unsure of what to say. Madam, people are outside. They are saying things, she said, hesitantly, glancing at the growing crowd near the entrance. Bola waved her off. Leave me, she muttered, her voice heavy with defeat. She couldn't deny the evidence. It was all true. Her unsanitary habits, which she had dismissed as harmless, had now become the public knowledge. The shame was overwhelming. Meanwhile, Fumi wasn't entirely spared from the fallout. Though many praised her courage, others accused her of ruining a beloved institution. How can you destroy someone's livelihood like this? One commenter wrote under her blog post. Fumi received angry messages from loyal fans of Bola's kitchen who refused to believe the story. Some even accused her of fabricating the evidence. But despite the criticism, Fumi stood firm. This isn't about tearing Bola down, she responded in one comment. It's about holding her accountable. Everyone deserves clean, safe food. By the evening, a small crowd had gathered outside Bola's kitchen. Some were there out of curiosity, while others came to confront Bola directly. They shouted questions and accusations, their voices growing louder as hours passed. Bola, come out, we need answers. Is it true you have been using dirty water to cook? No wonder my children were sick last month. Inside the restaurant, Bola felt trapped. She peeked through the window and saw the crowd. Whispers of anger reached her ears, and she knew she couldn't hide forever. Sade approached her cautiously. Madam, maybe you should talk to them, she suggested. Bola shook her head. What will I say? They have already made up their minds. As the noise outside grew louder, Bola realized she had two choices: deny everything and hope the storm passed, or take responsibility for her action. The latter option terrified her, but deep down she knew it was the only way forward. Taking a deep breath, Bola stepped outside. The crowd quieted as she emerged, their eyes fixed on her. I know you are all angry, Bola began, her voice trembling, and you have every right to what you have seen, what Fumi has exposed. It is true, a murmur ran through the crowd. Bola continued, her eyes glistening with tears. I never meant to harm anyone. I thought, I thought the taste of my food would make up for everything. I see now that I was wrong. I failed you all, and for that I am deeply sorry. Her words hung in the air, heavy with sincerity. The crowd's reactions were divided. Some people softened, moved by her apology. Well, at least she's admitting it, one woman said quietly. But others, less forgiving. Sorry doesn't fix the damages you have done, a man shouted angrily. Bola nodded, accepting the criticism. You are right, she said. I can't undo the harm, but I promise to be better. I will shut down this restaurant and work on improving myself. When I come back, if I come back, it will be a clean kitchen and a clean conscience. With that, she turned and walked back inside, leaving the crowd to disperse. Over the next few days, Bola's kitchen remained closed. The once vibrant restaurant was now a ghost town, its door locked and windows shut. The scandal left a lasting impact on the community, sparkling conversation about food hygiene and accountability. The dust of the scandal settled slowly over Surulere. For days, the streets were filled with whispers about Bola's kitchen. The once thriving restaurant was now abandoned, its colorful sign faded in the harsh Lagos sun. Passersby glanced at it with a mix of regret and disdain, shaking their head at the thought of what would have been uncovered. Bola's public apology had left an impression, but it wasn't enough to quell the storm entirely. Her admission of guilt has sparkled conversation about hygiene in food businesses, prompting customers to scrutinize other vendors more closely. But for Bola herself, the fallout was personal, painful and far-reaching. Inside her tiny apartment, Bola sat alone, staring at the ceiling. The sounds of the bustling street outside felt distant, like the life she once knew. The phone calls had stopped. The loyal customers who once sang her praises had vanished, replaced by silence. Her assistant, Sade, had moved on to another job. The landlord of the building where Bola's kitchen operated had sent a polite yet firm notice that the space should be leased to someone else. Bola had no choice but to confront the wreckage of her decision. For the first time, she began to think deeply about her habits, the shortcuts she had taken, the disregard she had shown for cleanliness, and the arrogance that blinded her to the potential harm she was causing. The scandal also left the community grappling with its own complicity. For years, they had flocked to Bola's kitchen without questioning the conditions under which the food was prepared. Now, many felt guilty for ignoring the warning signs. Didn't you notice how dirty her apron always looked? One woman said to her friend at the market. True, but the food was just too good. I didn't think it mattered, her friend replied. Local health inspectors, spurred into action by the uproar, began visiting other food vendors in the area. Several stores were shut down for violating hygiene standards, leading to a broadening reckoning within the community. Though Fumi's expose has been widely praised, it also brought her unexpected challenges. Some members of the community accused her of ruining Bola's livelihood. You could have handled it differently, one man told her during an interview for a follow-up piece. Now she's out of a job, and the people are still falling sick from other food vendors. What did you really achieve? Fumi struggled with this criticism. She knew her intention had been good, but the aftermath felt more complex than she had anticipated. She resolved to do more than just expose problems. She wanted to help create solutions. For Bola, redemption began with education. She enrolled in a food safety course offered by a local organization, determined to learn everything she had ignored before. The classes were tough. Bola found herself sitting among younger students who often snickered at her lack of knowledge, but she persevered. She also began volunteering at a community kitchen where she worked under the supervision of trained chefs. They taught her not just the importance of hygiene, but also how to organize her workspace, manage waste, and ensure her ingredients were fresh. I want to start again, Bola told her instructor one day, but this time I will do it right. Months turned into a year, and Bola slowly rebuilt her confidence. With the money she had saved from her previous business, she relocated to another town and opened a new restaurant under a different name. The new restaurant, called Golden Spoon, was a reflection of Bola's transformation. The kitchen was spotless, with stainless steel counters and neatly organized shelves. A sign near the entrance proudly declared, "Hygiene is our priority." Bola hired a small team and insisted on regular training sessions to ensure they upheld the standards she had learned. She also implemented an open kitchen design, allowing customers to see how their food was prepared. One day, as Bola was serving a table of new customers, she noticed a familiar face in the crowd. It was Fumi, holding a notebook and a pen. Bola's heart raced as their eyes met. For a moment, she feared another expose, but Fumi approached her with a warm smile. "I heard about the changes you have made," Fumi said. "I wanted to see for myself." Bola nodded, her voice steady but humble. "I had to change. What I did was wrong, and I am grateful you exposed me. It gave me the chance to start over." Fumi ordered a plate of jollof and chicken. As she ate, she couldn't help but smile. The food was just as delicious as before, perhaps even better, but this time it came with the assurance of safety and care. Word of Golden Spoon spread quickly, and the restaurant became a symbol of redemption and resilience. Bola's story inspired other food vendors to improve their hygiene practices, proving that it was possible to balance a good taste with cleanliness. Fumi wrote a follow-up piece titled "The Second Chance of Bola, the Chef Who Changed Everything," which highlighted Bola's journey and the broader impact of her transformation. The article resonated deeply with readers, many of whom praised Bola's courage and determination to change. As Bola stood in her gleaming kitchen one evening, preparing for another busy day, she reflected on her journey. The road had been painful, but it was also been a necessity. She smiled as she stirred a pot of steaming soup, this time with a clean spoon. For the first time in years, she felt truly proud, not just of her food, but for herself. The end.